Black and White Technicolor, a fanzine love affair. Day tripping Google blog searching, and I found one post by a Portuguese pushing 10, all 10, Barracudas albums. Now that made me think even more than the arrays of SoulSeek and other apps dispensing thousands of files, the torrents and the tireless rippers and burners. Basically, to paraphrase an ancient George Carlin routine, every Barracudas album delivered to your door in a dump truck. When I was a teenager, no, not before you were born, when you were still in your previous incarnation, cue Donnie Brasco voice, forget about it. Everything had to be mailed, or as I say in this adopted country of mine, posted. Music and the writing about it could not be taken for granted. At about 15, I started writing for a few fanzines. Can't remember how I found out about them. One was called Big Star from northern New York State, guess Buffalo. The other, Teenage News, was edited by a wonderful guy in Montreal named Yves, who I visited a few times. I edited my high school rag a while too, and reviewed the debut Dolls album. The fanzine has pretty much died now, though. The days when my older brother and I plotted a fanzine, Rumble, that I photocopied on Sly at work in the weeks leading up to my big trip to England to form the Barracudas. Well, so that was how it worked, and I wrote for plenty of other titles too, like the now iconic Denim Delinquent out of my hometown, Ottawa, Ontario, edited by Jim Parrott, who somehow had wrangled Lester Bangs into writing for it, and issues of which are rightly considered now classics of their kind. In those days, even the mainstream rock writers were something else. Cream was the Bible, with Bangs, Dave Marsh, who made his pile soon, working with Springsteen, Ed Ward, Robert Robot Hull, and many more. The writing was impassioned, imbecilic, obsessive, and very funny. And then there was Rock Scene, a cheap, teeny-type rag, trailing NYC punk with its endless Ramones features and titbits about Bowie and Iggy. In Britain you had more, some amazing. Let It Rock, beautiful and sleek, blasted Roxy Music and other offbeat hitsters. Melody Maker and NME back then didn't suck, the latter housing Nick Kent, Charles Shaar Murray, Mick Farren, and other crack hacks. Fanzines, though, felt and were different. Of course, Sniff and Glue was apocryphal, a grimy, bulldogging, belligerent bark at any passing conformity. In its dying days, I made a pilgrimage there, and Mark P. accepted my proposal for a piece on Generation X that was duly published. I wrote for Ripped and Torn, Tony D's brilliant anarchist rant. His band of agitprop squatters was formidable and funny. There were dozens of others, stapled and stuck together, crammed with ideas, many of which did also cover my own band, the Barracudas. And there was a Scottish fanzine, Next Big Thing, Lindsay Hutton's project, a fantastic fanzine which I contributed to over many years, and too many others to name. Now we have blogs and the mute, piratical testimony of the download demimonde. Just ain't the same. Freedom of creativity transformed, yes. But what the fanzines promised, the new world delivers, everything for nothing. Let's not get physical. Download my wife, please. The original zines had something to chafe on, a position, a stance. Something was always at stake. What is the position of a blog written on no paper at no price? Music capitalism will be on its knees soon, and that's good, but I miss the definition of the old ways, the city ravines, where there was black and white, not just glyphs. So it's an old man's love song to himself. I miss Jeremy. One of the problems of this postmodern world is that everybody knows everything and knows everybody else too. The pervasive, coy, informed, sardonic, and sarcastic tone that fills entertainment media, from heavy-duty horror to kids' cartoons, has homogenized and polluted us, making everything once removed and already old. Nobody talks much about the future because we're convinced we're living in it. But it's just Dick Tracy on lie drugs. I don't like this reality fix. I want my future back. And yeah, throw in my Woody. All this today takes me away from me. I found being human very disappointing, and the collapse of what you can hold has made it worse. Fanzines call me back to a time and place that had a time and place. I'm not a text. I'm a human being, albeit to a point. And I'll live with the disappointment. I look back because the blizzard of mediocrity that now assails us bores me. Fanzines and vinyl, the golden, solid waste of what was. Give me that and the cassettes and all that good crap. It's the world I knew. We are sailing sideways into and under a horizon of banded beingness. The original fanzines that smudged your fingertips were the coal face of fandom, where you toiled in the dark, hammering at an implacable stupidity, people whose taste was worse than yours. Now there's room for everybody, and I wish they would reintroduce the dress code. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and here I will see it in print, not limbo. Banality TV seeps into everything, an enfeebling flood. It takes less time and effort to do everything, which I celebrate, but those raw materials become mist or mutant. This is why I always honor the fanzine. Humble photocopy grunt of the last lost written age.